everyone, how are you guys doing this lovely month of October? I planned on getting these videos out a little earlier, but life got in the way and work and all that good stuff. But now I can finally focus on finishing these, and I'm going to be releasing two videos. The first one I'm going to be talking about one game, and the other one I'll be talking about another game. Both are spooky-esque games, we could say. One's definitely a horror game, the other one's horror light, I guess we could call it. It's not really like a true horror game, but it's pretty suspenseful. So, with that out of the way, let's get right into the first one. Now, of course, the first game is Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread came out October 8th, I believe. I was fortunate enough to pick up the 2-pack amiibos, and I got the special edition. And this isn't going to be a review, it's just a general discussion, off-the-cuff-esque video like I've been making lately, and just something to get out there with my thoughts on Dread. So, I finished Dread. It took me about 13 hours to get through the main game, and I'm not going to go into any type of spoilers, so anything story-related I'm not going to talk about at all. I will say there's something that happens in the latter half of the game, really at the end of the game, that's really cool, and you find something out that's also really cool, but I'm not going to talk about any of that. I just wanted to touch on it just a little bit. So yeah, Metroid Dread, I mean, it's crazy that it's here. It's the first 2D Metroid in 19 years. The last one we got was Fusion in 2002, and it's just crazy to think that it's actually here. And for any of you that don't know, Metroid Dread was actually a title that was in development for the Nintendo DS, and for whatever reason, it just got scrapped. I don't think there was any known footage of it, but apparently there was a release schedule for a bunch of Nintendo DS games, and Dread was on that list, and there was some confirmation with IGN and some other outlets, but it was a game that was in development. So to actually see it come to fruition and actually be released is just crazy. But yeah, so how is the game? What's it like? Like I said, I finished it. I put about 13 hours into the game, and man, it is such a solid 2D game. Like, it's crazy. I want to call it such a solid Metroidvania, but it is literally the best 2D Metroid game I think I have ever played. The combat feels so fast, so fluid. The controls are so precise. I mean, it is just... Samus feels amazing to control. And the level of maneuverability that she has, it all feels so seamless. Samus just feels so agile, especially with the new slide and the new slide ability that Samus has. It's just everything just is so perfect to pull off. In terms of overall gameplay, with how the game played out, I really enjoyed it. Of course, it's a Metroid game, so there's going to be a lot of backtracking, of course. One thing I will say that I felt like would have been a nice step forward was fast travel. And now you can fast travel, but you have to unlock all of the fast travel. So there's certain points, essentially, in the game that will allow you, elevators and such, or teleportation stations, that will allow you to go to another area. And so it would have been nice to just kind of, once you've just reached that general area, it's like, okay, you can come back, to this segment of the area at any point in time. It was kind of annoying to know that if I wanted to go get another part of an E-Tank, or if there are some missiles that I wanted to get, I had to backtrack all the way back and navigate through the map. And I know for veterans of the series, it's something that they thoroughly enjoy, but I feel like a good step forward would have been the ability to just do that as soon as you reach that new area. So that's the only thing I really didn't like. But then again, Samus just feels so fluid to control. I really didn't mind it all that much because it was just so fun to play the game. In terms of overall power-ups, I really like what Dread brought to the table. I mean, we have Series Stables returning, and then we have some new ones, which was really nice. Now, honestly, one of the best things about Dread were the boss fights. And this is coming from someone who doesn't typically enjoy boss fights that much. And when I say that, when we go into like Souls-esque, or like, some of the Mega Man X boss fights where it's just like extremely difficult, and it's that trial and error gameplay, the old saying of react, don't predict kind of thing. That's kind of how some of the boss fights are in Dread, but it never, and even, in games like Souls games and the X games, it's never your fault. I mean, I'm sorry, it's always your fault. It's never the game's fault, right? And it really feels like that. You're learning kind of step by step what you should do and how you should do it. And of course, with all of the tools that Samus has at her disposal, it makes things a lot easier for you, but you can kind of tweak it and see, you know, what's the most efficient method of taking this boss on. And I found myself really enjoying that. You know, there would be some bosses where, you know, it took me, you know, 10 to 15 tries, and I wasn't getting frustrated. It was, each time was more enjoyable because I found out something that I didn't know the previous attempt. And it was really nice to apply what I learned and then just keep it going forward. So I had a great time with the boss fights, especially the last boss fight. You know, it is your classic age-old, you know, I'm not finished yet, this isn't my final form thing. But it was really, really fun to learn everything that I needed to learn to take that boss down. And especially the ending towards that was awesome. But yeah, all the boss fights, man, they were just extremely fun. Another thing I want to talk about are the Emmys. Now, you guys have probably seen these things all over the place for promotional material for Metroid Dread. And let me just say, these things are horrifying. So you will essentially get into Emmy zones. And think of this like, you know, Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, or kind of or like Nemesis in Resident Evil 3. When these things spot you, the AI for these are very competent. They will find you. You know, I mean, you can definitely maneuver your way out of them, and you do get a certain ability that allows you to be invisible, so you're out of their sight. But man, these things, when they see you, it is suspenseful. The music that plays, you're in an actual zone called an Emmy zone, and just the tone is so eerie, and it's just, oh my, they did these extremely well. And taking them out is actually really unique too, because after you defeat the first one, there's actually 2 steps to it, which is really nice. And it kind of took me a while to figure that out at first. I didn't realize that I had to shoot essentially the faceplate off before I could actually finish them off. So, and you know, in some instances, you'll find yourself like you need to allow yourself with enough space to take out that Emmy so it doesn't get you before you've actually taken it down. And man, they just really did this well, because the way that these Emmy zones are built out, it really gives you just enough space to figure out how you're going to take that thing down, which was really fun. One thing I wasn't too keen about was the music. I mean, I know Metroid isn't known for you know, its OSTs, but I don't think there wasn't anything terrible, but it was just kind of there, you know, kind of how like Breath of the Wild didn't have like the greatest soundtrack, but it was helping deliver the tone and the atmosphere that you know you should be feeling, I guess, during that time. But nothing really memorable, or nothing that, you know, stood out to me by any means. But I would say, yeah, that was another gripe I would have had with the game overall. Alright, well, I wanted to keep this one short and sweet and get something out during October. I have one more video coming out about a pretty terrifying game that I played and finished recently. But yeah, definitely pick this up if you guys haven't. I don't know what the criticism is, but I know there are some people skeptical about whether this is worth $60 or not. In my opinion, I think it's a great game, and you'll definitely get your money's worth. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.